came up here Wednesday evening for practice. The kids were over still in the pool shivering because the wind was blowing. They didn't want to get out because it was too cold. It was warm in the pool, but they didn't want to get out. Yeah. All right. There we go, some swinging doors. Don't need no swinging doors, a jukebox, or a bar stool. Don't need no long neck, long stone, get me high. Don't need no happy hours, 'cause all my hours are happy. Since I let Jesus take control of my life. If I have a habit, it's gonna be Jesus. I'm gonna have to hang on to Him. I'm gonna get high. I just bring the Spirit, 'cause He makes me the high, and never lets me down. No more saying no to be bopped or a bar stool. Don't need no long neck, long star to get me high. Don't need no happy hours, 'cause all my hours are happy. Since I let Jesus take control of my life. I'm liking the little lap steel thing. We got a steel player friend of ours that's hopefully we'll get him up here one of these days. He keeps telling us he will, but he's gonna have to push him. You know where he lives, Dave? We just go pick him up. Pick him up. The band bus. Had the band bus. You give us a band bus and just start picking him up. Oh, that's good. All right. This one right here is one that we like to do some old Haggard rewrite. Soldier, led my Savior to a place called Calvary. They hung him on the cross for all to see. Father, please forgive him. They know not what they do. Then he bowed his head and died for you and me. Jordan, come on. Sound like a real country man now. Oh, mercy. All right. Now, before we give it to Pastor Tad here, we're going to do an old one right here. I like Randy Travis's version of it. Big Randy Travis fan. Y'all already know that. To be a keyboard player here somewhere in B flat or something. I'll change them one of these days, but right now I have tried playing these songs in different keys just for the betterment of us having to play them, but I've learned them in these keys and I try to play them and sing them in a different key and it don't work, so it's just how you learn them, I guess. All right, here. There will be peace in the valley for me someday. There will be peace in the valley for me. Lord, I pray there'll be no sadness and no sorrow. There will be peace in the valley. For me, oh Lord, I pray. There'll be no sadness, there's no sorrow, no trouble. I see there will be peace in the valley. There will be peace in the valley for me someday. There will be peace in the valley for me. Oh Lord, I pray. There'll be no sadness, no sorrow, no trouble. There will be peace in the valley for me. Good morning, good morning. There might be 2 or 3 of y'all out there who look like you need to go back and hit the coffee pot. I can't give you very many guarantees, but I can guarantee you that the coffee is stout. Oh, let's pray. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for all that you do for us. Lord, we just invite you in. Holy Spirit, you're welcome here. Come, speak to us. Lord, help us to clear out our minds. Open our hearts to you. Allow you to speak to us today. Lord, just come in here today to sit with us. Teach us. Guide us. Make us more and more like your Son, Jesus. Lord, I surrender myself and step out of your way. Let you have your time. Let your word go forward and do what you sent it to do today. Love you and praise you, Lord, in Jesus' name. Several years ago, I was shown this video, and actually, I believe the young lady, her and her father had trained this horse, and he had passed away, and this was kind of a tribute to her father, and she comes out on this horse to do this reining pattern, and there's nothing on this horse except this young lady. No saddle, no blanket, no bridle, no nothing. And they come out and they do this reining pattern flawlessly. It was just phenomenal to watch, almost unbelievable. And the part that I remember the most was in this particular reining pattern, you had to do so many spins in each direction. And I remember watching that young lady just put her hands out and just free, spinning on that horse that she and her dad had trained. And it was just
such a remarkable thing to watch how she and that horse worked, appeared, moved as one. It was just so phenomenal. People like me, when I do stuff like that, it looks like work. So I'm trying to get their attention, trying to get them to move and do what they're supposed to do. And I really want to be gentle. I really want to have one trained right, but I'm not like that young lady. I can't do it that way. I really want to. But it was just so phenomenal, the way that they moved together. They were just fluid in the way that they moved. They just moved as one. And to see them act as one, move as one, work together so effortlessly was just phenomenal. Psalm 32:9 says, "Don't be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding, but must be controlled by bit and bridle." You see, when we put a bridle on a horse, we do that for control. But what if we were able to become so in tune with that animal, with that horse, that we could reach up there and slip that bridle off and move as one? I've seen people do that. I've seen it come out great, where you're just blown away, and I've seen it come out the other way as well, to where it's not great. And it's almost one of those things after it's all said and done, because nobody died, comical, the way that it turned out. Matthew 12:30, Jesus tells us, "Who is not with me is against me." And I think that sometimes we get to rooting around and pulling as horses do. We've got a sorrel mare that it doesn't matter what you're doing, she's rooting on you. Even if you're doing something she likes to do, she's rooting on you, because it's just the way that she is. It's just her nature. She's been that way since we got her. And I think sometimes as people in our daily walks, we get to rooting around and trying to go our own way and do our own thing, and we get so caught up in our worldly lives that we forget what maybe Jesus might want to be doing with us and for us and through us. James 3:3 says, "We put bits into the mouths of horses to make them obey us." Now, there's all sorts of different kinds of bits. Those of you in here that have horses and have been exposed to them, this is not new to you. But I'm going to go kind of just explain a few anyway. There's the O-ring snaffle that's kind of light, that you kind of start one with, and then you can progressively work up. And hopefully you never have to get to a big high-ported grazing bit. But some horses, as they get older and their mouth gets loses some sensitivity, you have to get a progressively more, I hate to use this word, but there's no other word, severe type of bit. Sometimes we use the wrong bit, or we use a bit incorrectly, and we do more damage than good. I tell my kids, and of course I'm not a horse trainer, but I tell my kids, if they don't ask for something more, don't force it on them. I mean, all of our older horses will ride by their nose. They don't even have to have metal in their mouth. Now, there's some that just require it. But if they don't ask for it, don't force it on them. And you see, in our daily lives, our daily walk, we can allow ourselves to be bridled with the wrong bit. If we're not careful, we'll find ourselves bridled with something of this world. Not just of this world, but of He who is in this world. Who is in this world? Our enemy. Satan was cast out of heaven to the earth. He is the one that's in this world, the deceiver, the one that comes against us, the one that wants to destroy our faith, the one that wants to destroy our joy, the one that wants to destroy our relationship with Christ. He wants to put some sort of bridle on us that he can use to control us, steer us away from our relationship with our Father, steer us away from being that one with Christ, where we find that true freedom. I've got here a series of stuff, and I'm just going to I've got them set up kind of progressively, and I just want to go through a few things, just so we're all clear. This is not trade days at Cowboy Church. I already had to go and rescue 9/10 of these Bibles from a daughter's pickup today. So we're not having trade days, Macy. But this is the O-ring that I talked about, the kind of, the one that you would start a young horse with. So maybe our enemy, our adversary starts with just a little bit of self-doubt. You're not good enough. You don't know enough Scripture. You're not pretty enough. You're not stout enough. You don't know how to ride. Whatever the case is, just a little bit of self-doubt, just to kind of teach you to start giving it to him, just a little bit. And as things move along, maybe that self-doubt comes with a little bit of fear just to go with it. Maybe he plants that seed of self-doubt so you become a little bit afraid to try to share the gospel. Maybe you become a little bit afraid to actually step in that branding pen and help flank calves because you already know in your mind that you're not good enough. You can't flank calves with the likes of these guys. So then we move from a little bit of self-doubt and a little bit of fear to just not wanting to go. We don't even want to be around people because we know that we're not good enough and we know that we can never compete with these guys. So we just kind of want to stay home. We want to back out just a little bit and just kind of do our own thing. What does all that lead to? A little bit of shank coming up here. Loneliness, isolation, separating you from those that could encourage you, from those that love you, or from those that you could reveal Christ's love to. Same type of bit, just a little bit different setup here. So once you become lonely and you know that you're not good enough and you have this fear of being around people and it all just keeps on increasing and increasing, what happens then? Isolation. Then stuff starts coming maybe between you and your spouse. Maybe you start having a little bit of financial difficulties just because you're not going and working and you're not doing the things that you used to do. Got a little bit of pork coming up here. So about the time you maybe start kind of climbing out of this pit, you start coming out of this low spot, what happens? That old enemy, he goes to planting those lies. Oh, wait, shake you up a little bit. You're not going to go to that church social. You're not going to go eat dinner with your friends. You're going to come up with an excuse because you know they don't really like you. You know nobody wants to be around you, and they're all faking it. They're just smiling so that you'll feel good. They're going to check you up. And it's probably going to hurt just a little bit. You're going to sit down and say, okay, yeah, that's right. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go be around other people. Now this one right here, it doesn't look like much. Kind of a little ring shape. Got a little three-piece dog bone in the middle. But if you watch, it slides up like this. So when you pull back on the reins, it pulls that rope down, which pulls the mouth and the head together. I've been trying to get Macy to wear this so I could make sure how it works, and she won't do it. But this is kind of something you want to put on one when they're getting away with some stuff. When they're rooting on you, because this right here will keep them from rooting on you. You just hold your hand in one spot and let them root on that for a little while. Here in a minute, they'll quit it. So whenever we start getting to this point, then over here we've got this ported grazing bit, which I traded 4 years ago, and I have never even used. I think some of my family's used it, but I've not. But once we get to this point, Satan's got us where he wants us. He's got us separated. He's got us isolated. He's got us where we're useless to our families. We're useless to God. And we're just so beat down. We don't have no more want to. We don't have no more try. He's got us plumb shut down. And all of these things we have allowed him to bridle us with. By not getting up and fighting, not getting up and being excited that we know Jesus Christ, that we have something better yet to come. Even though right now it's hard, even though right now we're going through some stuff that's not fun, we have something to look forward to. Jesus tells us, I am going to the Father to prepare a place for you. That ought to excite us. You see, Satan wants to use these various bridles, whatever it may be. Maybe it's just something as simple as being too busy to stop and rest, to stop and spend time with God. He's got all sorts of things that he wants to use to mold us into what he wants us to be. Not what Jesus wants us to be. Not what Jesus says we can be. Not what Jesus promises we can be. But what Satan wants us to be. We can still be saved. We can still be, quote unquote, good old boys. But we can miss out on having a full life. We can miss out on having great relationships. We can miss out on enjoying the life that we have just because we've listened to that deceit. So let me share a little bit of personal stuff with you, because when God revealed this to me, I about fell out. So we talked several weeks ago about the horse that I lost and that whole type of scenario. And I want to go through one little part of it. Because when we went to take the trailer and the horse to where we were going to bury the horse, I wanted to just sit and pout. I wanted to be angry with God. I wanted to ask a bunch of questions and I wanted to just sit out there and on the edge of that trailer and just be mad. When I left my house, it's clear and sunny. Beautiful day. When I get over here to Dawn, America, which I think might be its own kind of little nation over there. Those of you that are from Dawn are nodding. Okay, so I get over there and it's storming at like sheets of rain. You get out of the pickup and lightning strikes and the hair on the back of your neck just automatically stands up. It was that kind of electrical storm, thunder booming. I mean, you didn't even feel safe being out there. It was that kind of storm. So I wanted to sit there and pout. I wanted to ask some questions and let my anger smolder. And as all this was taking place, the storm just keeps raging on. And once I left there, got back on Highway 60, guess what? It's clear and sunny again. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I couldn't understand what was going on. And I wasn't really ready at that point for the answer. About a week later, God revealed to me what was going on. Because my thinking was, why can I not even just have my pity party? Why can I not just have my moment right now and just get it over with? Matthew 27:45. This is talking about when Jesus died on the cross. It says, from the 6th hour until the 9th hour, darkness came over all the land. And then on in verse 51, it says, the earth shook and the rocks split. This was at the death of Jesus when evil and death were defeated. This is when Jesus beat Satan at his own game, conquered death, yet we were forgiven for all of our sins because Jesus was the perfect sacrifice. Do you not think at that point in time there was a little spiritual battle going on in the heavenly realms? I believe that a great battle was going on. I believe that God's angels were fighting against Satan, and Satan was defeated. He lost all power. The only power that Satan has over us, by the way, is the power of deceit. If he can deceive you, he can rob you. He has no other power. Look at Ephesians chapter 6. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Ephesians 6:10. Finally, be strong in the Lord and in his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. There are spiritual battles going on all around us all the time. Whether we can see them, whether we recognize them or not, they are going on. Because you see, that night as that storm raged, I had allowed myself to be bridled with all sorts of things of this world, to the point that I was questioning who I was, to the point that I was questioning what God was going to do with me, to the point that I was questioning, God, am I even doing what you have sent me to do? Because you see, for some time, Satan had been whispering these little lies in my head. You realize church attendance is going down. You're doing something wrong. You realize you haven't had anybody come up and ask you to pray with them in some time. You're unapproachable. He had been putting all this stuff in my mind to the point that at that night, it all came spilling over together, and I was questioning God. Am I where I'm supposed to be? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Have I offended you to some point that I'm not even pleasing to you anymore? Some very serious questions. And to be honest, I was at the point that night that I felt like God had stripped me of the identity that he had given me over the years. And I was about to spit the bridle out and run off. And God said, no, hold on. Psalm 46:10, you be still and know that I am God. And as I began to do that, he began to reveal this to me. Luke chapter 22. At my very weakest point, the weakest moment I've had in decades, the Lord was fighting for me. Luke 22:31. Peter is about to deceive Jesus. He's about to deny him. He's about to say, I don't know this guy. I've never seen him before. And this is what Jesus tells Peter. Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail. And when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. When you have realized the direction you need to go, when you realize what you need to be doing, you go back and you strengthen those around you. You strengthen the brothers, you strengthen the other disciples, you strengthen those you come in contact with. And that is what God began to reveal to me. If you're the pastor of a church and you're going to get this weak, you need to go and strengthen other people, because other people get weak too. Other people fight spiritual battles. It's not just you. I have put you in this place. I have given you these experiences because I have prayed for you. So that you will go back and you will strengthen and you will teach and you will be committed and you will do the things that I have sent you to do, and you will quit asking stupid questions. Whew. I needed some steel-toed boots. I'm not teasing. Because he got a hold of me. You see, Peter is who Jesus used to build his church on. And I'm not going to go through it, but if you go on down, Peter's talking about fighting for Jesus, talking about staying with him. You see, Peter wasn't game for the changes that were about to take place. Peter wanted everything to stay as they were because that's what he knew, that's what he was comfortable with. That's what I too had done. I decided that I'll just accept whatever comes to me, however it comes to me, and we'll deal with it. God said, no. I need you to spur up. I need you to get in the midst of everything, and I need you to cause ripples for my kingdom. I have prayed for you, Jesus said, so that you will go back and you will strengthen others, so that you will see where you need to go. If we go into the book of Acts, we'll find out what Peter did. Thousands were saved at the first time he stood up and addressed the group. He went back and strengthened, and that's what Jesus said for me to do. Go back and strengthen those that need to be strengthened. Turn over in Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. Now, I realize that this particular instance is talking about a different time frame. But I want to give you some examples because I think that sometimes we get so dormant in our spiritual lives, we don't realize what's going on around us. So I want to give you several examples so that we can leave here and realize that what's going on in the spiritual realm is bigger than just me or just you or what we're going through. Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back, the dragon being the enemy, being Satan. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled down to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers who accuses them before our God day and night has been hurled down. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them, but woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He's filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short. He is going to be very involved with trying to separate us from God, trying to bridle us with things of this world, to interfere with our relationship with Christ so that we may not have that freedom, that oneness like I talked about with that young lady and her horse. Satan does not want us to have that with Christ. He wants us to feel separated. He wants us to feel condemned, like we're not good enough, like there's some way that we can achieve perfection and there's not, or Jesus would not have had to die. You see, I believe at that night there was a spiritual battle going on. Not just over me, but over my family. Because the decisions that I could have made that night would adversely affect my family. I believe there was a spiritual battle going on over this body as well. Because the decisions that I made that night would have an effect on this body. I believe that as the storm raged, and as I wanted to spit out the bit and run off, and get lost in selfishness and loneliness, and beating myself up, that my Jesus was fighting. That he was defending me against the evil one. Exodus 14:14 says, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Because you know what I learned through this? When I think I'm strong, when I think I can stand, I think I can fight for myself. But when I am weak, when I am beat down, when I don't even have the strength to stand, that is when Jesus is at his best. Because I am not standing in his way. You see, Satan was fighting for control, to bridle me with the deceit that he had planted in my mind. He will do the same to each one of you. He will do the same to this body of believers. He will bridle us with all sorts of things, ranging from nobody likes you to loneliness, all the way up to disbelief. He will bring hurt feelings amongst the body. He will try to get us to turn against each other. Put the high-ported bit of, I didn't get my way, so I'm not going to like it. I'm going to leave. I'm going to cause problems, and he'll start checking you up with it. He will do that to each one of us in our personal lives, in our family lives, in our service to him. But you see, we have to realize, John 8:36, Jesus says, if the Son sets you free, you are free. Wow. Freedom. We don't have to have that in our mouth. We don't have to be bridled by the ways of the world. We don't have to listen to that garbage that Satan plants in our mind. Because Jesus himself said, if I've set you free, you are free indeed. Turn over to John 17. Because we have to realize this. You remember in Luke, Jesus says, Simon, Simon, I prayed for you. We're fixing to find out right here. He prayed for Peter. He prayed for Tad. He prayed for each one of you. It says in the subtitles right there above verse 20, Jesus prays for all believers. If you believe in Jesus, he has prayed for you. He will be fighting for you. He will defend you. John 17:20. My prayer is not for them alone, talking about his disciples. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one. Father, just as you and I, just as you are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. I and them and you and me. May they be brought to complete unity, to let the world know that you sent me and have loved them even as you love them. The Father loves us through Christ as he loves Christ. Father, I want those you have given me to be with me where I am and to see my glory. The glory you have given me because you loved me before the creation of the world. Righteous Father, though the world does not know you, I know you. And they know that you have sent me. I made you known to them and will continue to make you known in order that the love you have for me may be in them and that I myself may be in them. He wants to be one with us. He wants us to be so in tune with him that when the enemy comes at us and he has something like this in his hand and he says like this, because when you run to a horse like that, what do? Not me, not me, not me. That should be our response when the enemy comes at us with trying to stick something in our mouth to try to bridle us. We ought to run backwards and clench our teeth together. I am one with Jesus. I'm not listening to that. You're not putting that on me. I have been set free. I am good enough. Jesus thought enough of me to die. Band, y'all come on up here. You see, Jesus tells us that he is humble and gentle at heart. He wants us to come to him. Be one. We have to realize Satan, the deceiver, he is a hard taskmaster. He will drive us and drive us and drive us and drive us till there isn't anything else left to drive. Just to try to get us away from Jesus. To give up on our faith. Turn over to 1 Peter chapter 5. See, the Bible refers to Jesus as the Lamb. Refers to Satan as a roaring lion. The Lord and his armies are fighting for you. Even as darkness comes upon you, even as the storm rages around you, he's fighting for your freedom. It's up to you to choose which direction you will go. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Be self-controlled and alert. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour him. Resist him, standing firm in the faith. Because you know that your brothers throughout the world are undergoing the same kind of suffering. It's not just you. It's not just me. It's all believers. All of us are going to have to deal with it. All of us are going to have to stand firm in the faith. Because we cannot be victorious if we don't fight. We cannot be more than overcomers if we do not have something to overcome. Verse 10, and the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. To him be the power forever. Jesus has prayed for each one of us. What are you going to do when you come through the battle? What are you going to do after the fight? After you have been strengthened and restored and renewed, are you going to go back and encourage the others? Are you going to go back and share your testimony of how the Lord fought for you, of how you were victorious over this event or over this decision? Or are you going to accept the bid, be shut down, be controlled by the lies of our lay pastors, elders, y'all come on up. You see, Jesus wants to put his hand around our neck, slip that bridle off. He wants to become one with us so that we may enjoy that freedom that he has given us through his death on a cross, through his resurrected life. He wants us to have that new life. So I'm going to pray. If you need to be unbridled today, come up here and talk to one of us. Let us help you. Let us walk with you. Let's do this. Lord, I thank you so much that you love each one of us enough to die in our place. I thank you that you gently, humbly, through love, are willing to reach around each one of our necks and slip the bridle off of us that the world has put on us. Whether it's self-doubt, whether it's a physical condition, a financial condition, something going on in our family. Lord, I thank you that we have that freedom in you, that you're willing to slip that bridle off, become one with us, teach us and train us to be more and more like you, that you're willing to repair relationships, that you're willing to work with our health problems, that through it all you're willing to strengthen us and renew us. Lord, I just pray that we can take our victories and we can share them with others.